This show contains adult-orientated content.
You're listening to Smegcast with Matt, Gary and Devon.
All right, people. So since last we seen Devon in a movie theater, he was reviewing one of the worst reviewed movies of the entire year. So since that was such a raging success, we decided to send Devon out once again into the world of movies that may be bad or may be good, and asked him to come back and report on what he's seen. So Devon, tell us, what have you been watching?
So I actually just recently went to see the Baywatch movie.
And similar to the Chips thing, I mean, you've a personal connection with the property of Baywatch.
Well, see, Baywatch has been one of those shows I pretty much grew up with, right? You know, it pretty much went right through the 90s, I think even sort of to early 2000s. So, yeah, I think every teenage boy was quite keen to watch Baywatch. I think Pamela Anderson was probably one of the big draw cards.
But Pamela Anderson wasn't in all of them, though.
No.
She wasn't even in at the beginning.
No, she wasn't. I think, look, David Hasselhoff's been in it pretty much from day one, but I think the only reason David Hasselhoff started Baywatch was basically because he got sick of wearing tight pants in the show Knight Rider.
Right, okay.
I think that's why. I think he sort of wanted to let the balls,
just hang loose a bit.
Hang a bit loose, and not wear a shirt and things like that all the time.
He was the executive producer too on Baywatch.
He was too.
I just would figure he's like, I want to do it on a beach where it's warm. I don't have to get dressed because all I do is put on one pair of shorts and I'm ready to go. I saved lots of people's lives. I got lots of women, and that's pretty much it.
Now, probably most people know that, like in Baywatch, David Hasselhoff did actually do the theme song, right?
He sang it.
Yeah.
Did he really? So the one at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, so he actually is singing the theme song for Baywatch.
That's
Wow.
I'll Be Ready?
Yeah, I'll Be Ready. That's it.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and look, that was part of the reason why he ended up sort of getting that sort of really fantastic, music career as well.
Yeah.
Hey, the Germans love him.
They do. They love the Hoff.
I mean, if you think about Hoff's life, what a life. I mean, he started Baywatch in 1989. He then he destroys the East Germany in 91, single-handedly. I mean, and then it was around that time where the show exploded. What a life that was. So this is the remake. Can you give me? So this is totally brand new, right?
Brand new. So it features Zac Efron.
Yep.
And also
He's a sexy man, isn't he? He's a good-looking guy.
No.
You don't like him?
Not in comparison to The Rock.
True.
There is something about him. He is all man.
Do you know what's funny though? Because you're right though. If you put Zac Efron, you put anyone next to The Rock, and they 50% of their sex appeal is stolen.
Yeah.
That guy is 6'9" or something.
It's kind of like The Rock and then the Pebble.
He's a big guy.
And let's be honest, if you are drowning or need rescuing off a speedboat, you'd be very happy to see The Rock.
I think people you would purposely try to drown yourself, wouldn't you? Just what are we doing today? Same thing as yesterday. Drowning. So you went to the theatre?
Went to the theatre. Now, look, one of the first things usually you do when you go to the theatre is you buy, some popcorn. You maybe buy some, maybe a drink or, a choc top ice cream, things like that. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but a lot of the time it can be very, very expensive to buy popcorn and drinks and things like that. An insane price.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. And I still look at it as pounds, so it looks even twice as expensive to me.
Because I've often sort of thought, I wonder, for example, if you go in and you buy, just say, popcorn, do they sort of go, oh, okay, the popcorn, that will basically be the title to your house. Let's see, if you want a Coke, well, look, we need the keys to your car.
Yeah.
And then, you might sort of go, oh, geez, it's getting too expensive, and you sort
it's
of
a
might
bit dodgy,
ask.
that.
And then
how am I going to get home? I fucking drove here.
And then you sort of might ask something like, do you have a meal deal or something like that perhaps?
I got a coupon.
And then they go, well, actually, if you want the popcorn and the drink, we can have your firstborn child as payment.
Yeah, I hate him. You can have that. That's such a good deal.
Now, see, this is what got me thinking. Now, when you look and you go into most movie theatres, you look at the average age of the employee there. Most of them are 15 or 16 years of age.
Very well put.
And it got me thinking, I reckon there were probably couples who maybe went to the movies on a date, maybe in the year 2000, went to see movies like Any Given Sunday or maybe something.
That's such a great date movie, that one.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant. Al Pacino yelling at football players for 3 hours.
Surely
Oh.
The Mummy is a better date movie.
True.
It's like, you remember the movie Monsters Ball?
Yes.
Do you remember that movie? Right? I took a date to see that movie. Like the fucking worst date movie of all time. Like literally there's like an extended scene of like, sexual assault in the middle of the movie. It was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen.
Did you get a second date?
I actually can't remember, to be quite honest. I don't think I did. I'll tell you what though, nothing happened that night. Because like we kind of walked him, it was a good movie. It was like the most uncomfortable. I remember thinking, okay, like how long do sex scenes last in movies? Oh, like 2 minutes. Fade to, pan over to the fire and then fade out. Just go. And I was watching it and then I'm thinking, Jesus, this is going on. This is going on a bit. It was like 10 minutes long. It never stopped. And then just to really just roll out the romanticism is after that scene, then the plot line changes to some sort of racist, kind of plot line about how some dad is racist and then abuses someone. Oh my God, worst date movie ever. But Any Given Sunday though, Devin, that's a brilliant pick.
So let's just presume it's in The Mummy, for example. They went to see The Mummy on, back in 2000 or whatever, and they're buying their popcorn meal deal, and so they've thought, okay, well, look, let's sign over our firstborn child. Now, I reckon those kids who actually work in the movie theatre are probably
those children.
Yeah, those children. Results of payment.
That's why they're so young, because it's like an orphanage, really, isn't it?
It is.
It is, yeah. So, I suppose somebody has to work there, isn't it,
Exactly. Because you think that they clean the toilets, they serve you your popcorn, they give you your movie ticket. You don't see anyone over the age of 16 in those places.
And you do, when you have to go into the theatre and you hand the ticket to that young, prepubescent boy, and then he rips the ticket and says, yeah, it says cinema 4, it's to the left, and you look at him and if you look closely at him, there is the sad expression of a young orphan.
Yeah.
It's the truth. You see it every time.
He's never going to leave.
He's going to be there for a while.
He's just waiting for that age of 18 that he can actually be an adult and just get out of there.
Yeah. I do love being judged by those people though, when you give him a ticket and then you're like going to see like the fucking Mummy 4 or something, and he looks at it and he's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, that's over there, It's like, it's because I go to because Melbourne's got fancy cinemas in it.
Yes.
And then non-fancy cinemas, right? But if you go to like the fancy cinemas that have like all these really fancy foreign movies, they always have like one theater that's playing the new Tom Cruise movie.
Well, they got to make money.
Well, they have to. That's it. They have to bring in the punters, and like no one's. So like, if you go to see I'm going to pay money. I want to see the new Argentinian love story starring Emma Thompson. Can I have a ticket for that? Oh, yes, of course, absolutely. It's fantastic. You will love it. Enjoy. It's just there. Anything you want. And then I go there and I see, I pay money to go see fucking the Tom Cruise's movie or John Travolta's new fucking action movie. And they kind of look at me and go, I think we have that. Do we have that? Are we playing it? We do? Well, I didn't know. Okay, I've never actually given anyone a ticket for this movie. Let me see if I can find it on my computer. I feel like a second-class citizen, Devin, is what I'm saying. But I'm sorry to cut you off. So are we in the theatre yet, Devin, or we're still getting in the theatre?
No, we are now.
Like, it's taken 20 minutes to get in the theatre to see the movie. Right?
It was those 10 people in front of me in the queue that have held us up.
So you've given your ticket to the poor orphan boy. And you're in. Okay, good.
Exactly. No, now look, obviously we've just, there's the brand new Baywatch movie. Now, I actually started to sort of panic in the movie to begin with. Because
You're probably the only person that's ever panicked before it started? Before it started, or during it?
Just as, how with a lot of movies when they're about to start, might show up like, Paramount Pictures, or, it shows that sort of, that imagery, or, for example, or it might be like Touchstone Films, all that stuff appears.
Yep.
All of a sudden, like a lot of these sort of like Asian-owned production companies started popping up.
Okay, right.
So, like, it's all in Chinese and stuff. So it's like, it's almost like, Beef and Black Bean Studios and all this kind of stuff, random different sort of names. And I'm sort of thinking, what film am I? Because I started panicking. Thinking,
you're watching a Chinese cooking show coming up.
Yeah, I was starting to think, am I even in the right theatre? Because I was sort of thinking, all these Chinese names, and I'm sort of thinking, and it was only then when sort of the names started appearing of the different actors at the start.
Well, as soon as you seen Zac Efron's face, you calmed down.
Yeah.
Oh, Zac. So you've calmed down. You've had a panic attack.
I had a panic attack.
Yeah, were you expecting it to be like Chinese subtitles? You thought, I can't handle that.
Because there's nothing worse than being that one person who walks out of a movie theatre. And I didn't want to be that person who's literally, the movie hasn't really even started, you're
walking out.
And I
haven't even fucking started the movie, like I'm going to leave.
Because it's always awkward walking up standing up in the middle of the theatre because you're blocking everyone's view and whatever, and having to get past all their knees and stuff.
Have you ever been that person?
Yes. Have you walked out of a film though?
I have.
You have.
Yeah.
Which film?
Oh.
And this is the man that sat through Hot to Trot. So what the fuck did you walk out of?
Aaron Brockovich.
What?
I hated the movie Aaron Brockovich.
Actually, I know this is all you have the strangest taste. Honest to God, like there's nothing wrong with that movie.
She
went
won
to
the
the-
Oscar.
Yeah.
I went to the toilet that many times.
Mel speech is like, she won the Oscar.
I thought it was a terrible, terrible film. I mean, for me, the highlight was going to the toilet. I had to find an excuse to go to. I reckon
But that was the best bathroom break of all time.
I got up about 5 times during that movie just because I'm going, I just can't sit through this. I honestly can't sit through it. Like, I was getting restless.
Why didn't you just have a nap?
I don't know. Well, I thought I kind of paid for the ticket. You know, you got to kind of partially sort of watch it. You know what I mean?
Imagine if Devin watched Aaron Brockovich with Chinese subtitles. It would have been like the worst experience a human has ever been put through. If I ever need to get information out of you, I know how to do it. So we're in the theater.
We are in
You've
the-
had a panic attack. You've realised that it's in English.
Yeah.
So what happens?
So the typical Baywatch sort of themes start popping up, you know, the ocean and things like that. Now,
Well, you wouldn't want it to be like, you know, the Montana fucking cliffs or something. You know, you'd want the sea.
now this is where I was already disappointed. You know, so you
Right.
know now most people think
We
about
haven't even seen an actor yet.
No.
We're still.
this is the thing. Oh yeah, the actor hadn't even turned up.
Yeah,
And I was
I know.
already disappointed.
I'm
Now-
let down.
Now, most people think, you know, Baywatch, it's filmed in California, Malibu Beach, you know, there's that whole sort of, you know, surfing culture, you know, sort of the whole California beach scene, all that kind of
But
stuff.
didn't it move to Hawaii? Wasn't that the whole point of the spin-off?
I think, look, there was the spin-off in the TV show, but with this movie, I was looking at it going, that water just doesn't look right. You know, I'm just looking at it going, you know, because Baywatch you always had that glistening, shining water, you know, with the reflection
true.
and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, there was that real sort of iconic
It's like a
sort of scene.
screensaver, isn't it?
Yeah, it was just really sort of vibrant, and I'm sort of looking at that water, even though like it had all the colours that you would normally see in Baywatch, you know, with all the different filters, and I'm looking going, that's not California. And so you know where it was.
So I have to ask though. So where was it filmed?
Well, I did my research. It was filmed in Georgia.
Wow.
In Georgia.
What? So the film was filmed in Georgia.
Yeah.
Like in the glistening seas of Georgia.
Like
So-
where Putin's trying to, you know...
Oh no, not the country.
Oh my god.
Oh, right.
No, the state of Georgia.
with you now.
Yeah, the
I'll tell you, there's
state.
a lot of fucking Russians in this movie.
Yeah, so for me, straight away, like as soon as I was looking at a lot of the imagery, I'm sort of looking at the beaches and I'm thinking, this just doesn't have that whole California vibe. So already
Right.
just in the setting alone, I was already sort of disappointed. You know,
But were they pretending to be in California?
there was no mention of it, but I just sort of naturally think that Baywatch is always associated with sort of California. That's how I've always sort of...
Of course.
Or you picture Hawaii. I can understand Hawaii too, because it's
But
just that
I thought it
natural-
was always based in California anyway.
Yeah.
I just because that's the culture of it, isn't it? It's all about the, you know, the glamour of, you know, LA or you know, the state and all this and the sunshine and all this sort of stuff. And Georgia doesn't speak to me in that way.
No. So when I was looking at it, it honestly looks like they're set. They've just marked off a section of beach, maybe, you know, 100 meters wide. They've done filming of boats, maybe in the water, just 100 meters ahead. There's a bit
Right.
of shoreline, a bit of grass, and a building behind. Honestly, that's what it seemed like. It felt like they had the smallest little plot of land to film the show on.
So we got this beach. How big is it? It's about 15 feet.
Because the thing is too, like you sort of think, like if you're going to have a movie about, you know, lifeguards, a comedy, you know, about California and stuff,
Wacky,
know-
drowning. Yes.
you know, I sort of think, one, have funny actors if it's going to be a comedy,
Well, of course.
and two, film it in California.
Well, easy.
Yeah.
There's got to be a reason they picked Georgia. I mean, they must have saved like 70% off the budget.
I was going to
because
say
that's
tax concessions.
Well, that's the only way you would do it. I mean, you think, how are we going to fix this up? You know, it's like trying to film it in Pittsburgh or something. How are we going to make it look, you know, glamorous and fucking nice, you know?
See, now this is one of the few movies. I mean, a lot of movies they use like I think the blue screen or the green screen.
Yeah,
you
a lot of
things
that.
like that. You know, but a lot of movies they do it really, really well. This has probably been one of the worst movies for visual effects I've probably
Really?
ever seen. So
Wow.
I'll use like
And from you, that's significant.
yeah, quite.
You've seen some
thought
bad
I
shit.
thought it was really quite bad. I mean, there was
Yeah.
honestly there were scenes like we'll just picture like for example Zac Efron and The Rock,
Right.
basically being on a jet ski.
Okay.
So it's basically you can see it's clearly filmed in front of a blue screen. There's probably someone underneath with a bucket of water, like splashing up water, like throwing it up to make it look like you're actually in the ocean. It was that honestly. Those certain scenes were were bad. Like,
Wow.
so I
That's
reckon
awful.
some of the worst.
So
that
so
I've
can you
seen.
see like somebody that kind of rocking the jet ski in the back of the studio, like come on, make it look like there's waves. You
I
know?
mean, when at the end of the movie, there's actually sort of like, almost like bloopers and things. And I swear, I reckon some of those scenes were probably filmed in a car park.
Yeah,
They've
right.
They've just honestly, like there's bits where you look and you think, yep, they put up the green screen. There's the jet ski,
Yeah, right.
or a boat or whatever.
But
and
you have to admit though, Devin, I don't know if you've been to Georgia. It's got some beautiful car parks though. So I mean, they're the perfect place to film that stuff. That's one advantage it has. So you're instantly disappointed by what's going on. So where are we going? Is it good? I suppose what your
Wait, we've got
general.
to ask first.
Okay.
Tell us about the eye candy, because that is the entire point of a Baywatch TV show movie.
yeah.
Is beautiful people.
True.
well, see, for me, like when you see like Zac Efron, I mean, he is quite ripped and buff. But for me, I sort of look at him and think, you just look like Iggy Pop. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Iggy Pop.
I actually get it. He actually looks like the kind of muscular where it's like he's working out 24 hours a day, but he's not eating any food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's muscle, but it's just so dense.
It's like, just a layer of skin and muscle. It's just too sort of wiry.
So
you know what I mean?
I wouldn't
Yeah.
say that Zach is hot at all.
No.
Because you're right, it's too scrawny.
It is.
But also in comparison to The Rock, he doesn't look like a man.
That is true.
And he's still got that teenage persona. Like, even in just the preview, he still kind of acts like this 16-year-old.
You can say a lot of things with The Rock, but you can't say he doesn't look like a man. The guy's a man. If he breathed on me, I'd probably fall over.
And see, the thing is too with The Rock, he's an actor I personally feel who can't act.
Right.
See, I think also, and when I think The Rock tries to get into character, like if he does an action film, he'll go, I want to have 4% body fat, but when I do like a comedy role, I'm going to have 5% fat because that makes me feel more jolly, you know what I mean? And that's
Well, whatever works,
And that's how it was with him. But I mean, I was even watching him, and I thought there were scenes where he's sort of running on the beach, and I thought, because he clearly works out and stuff, I don't think he runs.
What gave it away, Devin?
Yeah. The odd muscle or two, but even scenes where you've seen him running, I'm thinking, because clearly, he doesn't want to sort of, ruin his body mass index.
Right,
So,
right.
and you just watch him and think, you can't even run properly. You know what I mean? Like, honestly.
He's just so big.
Like, when someone says to you, like, oh, just run on the spot.
Right.
It's not the same as like running down the street. It's got a different movement, and that's honestly how he looks when he's even running. So, like, even there, he wasn't believable as.
And
as
also,
a
he's so
lifeguard.
big that if he was, he would sink. Is my thinking.
Yeah, well, that's the thing
I mean,
too.
he would go to save a drowning person, but he's so large, he'd just pull him down.
And has no fat. So
And he
can't
has
float.
no fat. He's just dense. He's just sink. He's like a rock. The Rock.
Exactly.
You just go to the bottom of the ocean. He's probably like you would need lifeguards, that are I would be a good lifeguard, I think, because I'm small.
Yeah.
I could get out there quick. I'm nimble.
Your pocket size.
I am. I think I could do a good job. The fact that I can't swim very well shouldn't be held against me, but otherwise, I think I'd be great at it.
We'll just get you a jet ski and then there's no swimming involved.
That's true. I also am the color of like extremely white paint, so like I actually wouldn't last very long on the beach.
You'd sort of like fry, like a little,
Like a little egg.
like a papadum in like oil, shrivels
It's
up,
true. But okay, so what I've learned so far is that Chinese companies made it. It was made in Georgia. It was made mostly in a car park, and The Rock is reasonably sexy but can't act. Am I right?
Yeah, because for me, it's like the way I sort of describe the movie too is like, imagine Christmas Day. You run downstairs. You run downstairs. You open up a box to find a puppy in it, but the problem is the puppy's dead.
Okay.
Awful.
That's how.
Best Christmas ever.
That's how, and honestly, that's how I sort of felt. But the one thing, though, what actually was good about the movie was it literally.
Apart from that, apart from the dead puppy.
There was a lot happening from start to finish. Like, there's a lot of movies, and I often speak to Gary about this, like off air. That there's a lot of movies. It takes half the movie to get going, and then it sort of peters off towards the end. This was literally a movie that was consistent right throughout. So there was always stuff happening, literally from start to finish. So
I love this. So stuff happened a lot, like and all the way through it.
Yeah.
Like stuff didn't stop happening. It just kept going.
but the thing is, and this is how I
This is the
describe.
level of film criticism. we're going-
But see, also the way I look at it is too because obviously there was a lot of things that did happen in the movie, and it was
Okay.
consistent. But look, I'll probably go into the attractive side of things, because obviously we've just touched
I mean, the
on.
main campaign of the marketing of this, it's clearly just based on the fact that we've taken the best looking people we can find everywhere and stuck them in the same movie.
Yeah.
And that's the whole movie, isn't it, really?
See, now I consulted with one of my friends. Now, one of my friends he's like a boobing inspector. You know, he loves boobs. He's almost.
That is not his actual profession, though.
No.
It's just a hobby.
It's a hobby,
He
right.
would love it to be. You see, he's married, so he doesn't see him as much as he'd sort of like, you know.
Okay.
But with the internet, it's not that hard.
Look, and this is the thing, you see, with him, he can actually, like, if you say a movie and you say, where are boobs? Oh, yeah, 10 minutes and 15 seconds. He knows it. He knows it. He's a connoisseur when it comes to boobs. But, I mean, I consulted with him and he did say that, you know, this movie does not feature any artificial breasts.
Is that what he said?
Yes. That's
So
from a connoisseur point of view.
So we have a boob analyst
Yep.
that has analysed the movie, and he says that 100% natural.
Natural.
And
That's
is that because big boobs are not back in fashion at the moment, or at least on movies?
Well, see, the thing
And you know the boob thing, it's like, you know, the fake boob thing has almost become a bit of not a problem, but it's almost looked down upon now. Do you not feel that
Because
way?
it's associated with porn.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
So you can't have it on mainstream movies.
That's what I'm saying. So even if you had it in there, it's almost bad taste, isn't it? Really?
So, you know, I think that is probably one of the big differences between like the Baywatch, this TV series, and then this movie. I mean, Baywatch, when you do look at a lot of the women who had been through it,
Right.
a lot of them did have silicone implants and things like that.
Well, yeah.
You know,
I actually think that was part of the contract. I think you had to get them. I'm pretty sure.
I think Pamela Anderson started that wave, and then
Yeah.
every single one after that was like, we better do something
Yeah,
about
yeah.
because
that.
the way it is, it's like.
I mean, we're competing with her. You know, we got to do something.
But no, but the thing was actually with the girls, there's three main girls in it. One of the girls actually, I cannot pronounce her name.
Okay.
But she played the part of Stephanie Holden, basically.
Right. Who is
So
this? Who is she now?
She's actually The Rock's wife in real life.
Ah, right. So they're married in real life.
Yep.
Oh,
correct.
right.
Then there's a girl called, I think it's Kelly Rohrbach. So she
Nicely
plays-
pronounced. That. Well
good
done.
good old German name.
Yeah.
So look, you know what? If Matt was interviewing her, he'd probably go, "Oh, Kelly Rohrbach. That's a German name. Can you let's talk about Hitler for a bit?" You know,
It's true.
He would.
You know, just a segue, you know, subtly into the Nazis, you know.
Because even if Matt was in the 80s and like he's going, "Oh, Molly Ringwald. Ringwald, that's a German name. What are your thoughts on Hitler?"
It's true.
But no, but then there was so Kelly Rohrbach basically played the part of CJ Parker, who was Pamela Anderson's
see,
character.
big shoes to fill. Actually, sorry, big boobs to fill.
Yep.
Big bathers.
Big
bathers
beards to fill. Thank you, Bill.
And then the other girl who played the part of, I think, Summer, her name is Alexandra Daddario. So
Right.
frankly, with the choice of girls, you know, you can say visually all three are very different.
Right.
But I thought all naturally good-looking girls. You know,
Did you get aroused during the movie?
I had popcorn sitting on my lap. So,
I was going to say,
yeah.
like just a little bit hard, not fully hard, but a little bit. That's the purpose of it.
I had my choc top just
Yep.
to sort of, you know, cool it down a bit.
Just take the heat off. Yeah. Okay, good. Well,
Yeah.
and so all in all, 5 stars.
Yeah, so look, from the girls, look, you know, naturally good girls, basically, you know,
Right.
sort of fresh-faced. Now, Mel asked a good question.
Right.
Could they act? Well, this was the thing. Even though there was 3 different girls, 3 different characters, they all seemed like one person. There was really no differentiation between each sort of character.
So they
basically.
weren't characters. They were just there for their looks.
Pretty much. They all did serve a purpose in the show, or the movie, but there was no...
Pretty superficially.
Just all very superficial. There was just no real... Like, you know, it wasn't you'd say, oh, look, one's a very strong character or one's, you know, very, you know, so one's a goofball. Or, no, there was nothing. They were
Yeah,
just
okay.
3 girls doing their thing.
That's a bit of a shame, isn't it? You would have liked to have had a bit, especially 2017. You know, give someone something to do.
Well, I'm assuming with The Rock and Zac Efron, they're not really acting either. They are just being an extension of themselves.
Yeah.
I would say, and like, okay, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Here's my impression, just before you continue. Is it feel like everybody is, like you said, they're playing themselves as if they're acting in a Baywatch movie, not actually playing characters in a Baywatch movie?
Well, see, this was part of the weird thing too. Now, all these characters, you know, they were playing the characters from the TV show, which frankly I felt like they didn't need to. So, like, I mean, The Rock was basically playing the character of Mitch Buchanan, which is
Hoff.
which was the
Yeah.
Hoff's character.
And that's a tough role.
So for me, I felt like because Baywatch has gone through so many different phases in that TV series, you know, there were so many sort of like lifeguards that came and went, and
the amount of
different
people
things,
that died in that show is
you know?
unbelievable.
So for me,
I mean, you know the original Baywatch show, they were like the worst lifeguards because every like I think people died like every 2 episodes. someone died.
Yeah.
They were the shittest lifeguards ever. They did nothing but kill people.
Well, can you imagine with silicone implants, how could you dive deep down? There'd be a certain level of buoyancy.
Yeah, you would
know?
never get low enough to capture that. Exactly. I totally agree. I think like if it weren't dying by drowning, it was dying by disease or by fire or by earthquake or something. You know what I mean? There's so many stupid ways to die. They're the worst beach to go to. The fatalities on that beach must have been ridiculous compared to the next beach.
It's like that show Murder, She Wrote with Angela Lansbury. I mean, you'd never want her to come to your house because it seemed to be every time she turned up to someone's house, they died.
Yeah.
Very true.
You know, so it's
shit.
It's like, like with Baywatch, it was like, no, you can't go to Malibu. Something's going to happen.
A helicopter's going to crash into you or something. Okay.
Yeah, so basically, look, the characters have the same names as the TV show. Now,
and the female leads are disappointing.
Disappointing.
What about the bad guy?
Oh, yeah, you got to have a bad guy.
There is a bad guy,
okay,
but it's actually a bad girl or a bad woman.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I keep on wanting to say the name Deepak Chopra, but it's not. It's
Deepak Chopra is like a fucking, isn't he like a new age mystic kind of guy?
Yeah, something like that. I think it's
if Deepak Chopra was the bad guy in the Baywatch movie, fuck me, I would pay that. That would be the first in the queue to see that movie,
I think her name is pronounced, is it Priyanka Chopra? Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think that's,
well done, Devin.
Yeah.
That was like 110% brain power right there. So she's a bad guy then in the movie.
Exactly.
And is it a drug thing in the movie?
It is.
Okay.
It is. So, I mean, basically the storyline is they sort of, there are drugs.
He's really battling. Is there a storyline?
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's
what the fuck was that
Not
about?
a necessity in Baywatch, let's be honest.
Not really.
That's the thing, because it was kind of one of those movies where I did walk away and go, what happened? What happened? Like, I sort of walked away, and that's why... I'm sort of thinking, was it a good movie? Was it a bad movie? I'm very, very 50-50 on
Was it
movie.
even a movie? I mean, not even, it could have been a music video.
But basically, there are drugs washing up on the beach.
Yeah.
Certain people are getting killed, and
Brilliant.
all of
Drugs on the beach, people getting killed. Zac Efron's like a little muscle boy. The Rock is like a big muscle man, and I guess there's boats and there's a few drownings, and then there's maybe a fire or two.
Explosion.
Could an explosion, probably a few chases and jet skis. I imagine there's a few of those.
Exactly.
We probably have one unfortunate sad death to
and it's got to be a love plot.
Love plot, yeah. An unfortunate death that sets the stakes for the rest of the story. Like little Jimmy died, we're gonna get them back.
Now, one of the things I found was like the humor. The humor was actually really quite. Like, I think, honestly, the way I describe it is, if you wanted to impress someone and say, look, you know what, I'm a psychic. I can predict what's going to happen next. That's exactly how this movie was.
So you could predict it?
Yeah. The jokes were that predictable. Honestly, it was like if there was like a Baywatch, like a brainstorming team, it'd be like, oh, okay, Zac Efron, he's going to be laying on like a trestle table under a dead guy who's leaking fat. Now, where would it be funny for the fat to leak? And someone would go, I know, in his mouth.
Brilliant.
That's it.
Brilliant.
We're writing that down.
That's like 10 million right there.
And that was the thing. The jokes were
That was in the trailer as well.
It was in the trailer.
I
And then
remember
he gets out of the thing and starts screaming and blows their cover.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah. See, very clever
Because again,
screenwriting.
he's not masculine in comparison to The Rock.
Right. Brave thing, if he knew The Rock was going to take that role, he'd be like, there's no way I'm standing next to that guy. I'm going to look like fucking Pee Wee Herman next to this guy.
But so that was the thing. A lot of the jokes I found were quite predictable. One of the jokes, actually, I thought was almost a bit of a rip-off from the movie Something About Mary. Now, I don't know if you remember
Is it a cum thing? That's the only joke I remember. There only is one joke in that movie, and it's the cum thing in the ear.
The Franks and Beans.
The Franks and Beans.
Remember when Ben Stiller's character accidentally zips himself up?
Oh, yeah. That was a painful one.
So,
and the emergency ambulance arrive and they take him out. Yeah,
and because with the whole cast of the movie looking, quite attractive, for humour's sake, they decided to put like a fat guy, a fat nerd in to make it that little bit more humorous. So
that sounds a bit bad taste, doesn't it?
Yeah, so that was kind of the humour too. So he basically, he falls over on a bench seat, and his penis and his balls actually get pushed through the slat.
Oh,
so basically, everyone's trying to sort of help him out, and the whole beach is looking at him. But it's just that sort of same kind of humour that was sort of
in Something About Mary.
Something About Mary.
Geez, that sounds like a painful way to do it, doesn't it?
No, because it was done by Chinese companies. Do you think it was designed for the Chinese market?
Is there Chinese people in the movie?
There is one guy who is, surprisingly enough, a Chinese property investor.
Right. Does he die in the movie, or?
He actually gets rescued.
Okay.
He does actually get rescued because he's one of the people who owns quite a bit of land on this beach. in this particular scene.
So maybe the movie's set in China. Do we know this? It could be in a Chinese beach. Like it's like this is the whitest Chinese movie I've ever seen.
But I have a feeling like my impression is it's almost like it felt like a small budget movie. They wanted to make maximum profit with sort of minimal effort. Let's have a few big names. Like, you know, the Chinese are probably going, oh, everyone likes The Rock. Or all the young girls like Efron. You know what I mean? That's
right.
And that's how I sort of felt it was all sort of put together.
Right.
Just I felt
to appeal to as many people as possible, basically, as well. So
and therefore appealing to nobody.
Well, that's a good point, because that's kind of what this movie is. And just to take this a step further, my impression of the movie, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it could be that like it's on the heels of all the 21 Jump Street stuff, right? So it's all about irony, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about kind of, we can't make a straight Baywatch movie because the show was just ridiculous.
And it's dated. It's
And
no
it
longer
really dated.
acceptable.
It's actually really dated. I watched some of it before I came here. It's appalling. But the only way to make that work then is to make fun of what it stood for.
Yeah.
So it's almost this double joke, isn't it, really? So it's all winking movie making, isn't it? Kind of winking. Are you getting the joke? You liking this? You know, and that's kind of what it's all about, isn't it?
exactly spot on.
Okay.
Now, for me, look, it'd be...
Out of 10, Devin. Now, be honest.
I will give it 1 silicone implant out of 2.
Wow.
So 50%.
50%.
Because I literally, like, as I mentioned earlier, when I walked out, I sort of thought, is it a good movie or is it a bad movie?
You don't quite know.
And I just sort of, even, you know, days later, I was sort of going, yeah, it's all right. For me, it'd be like, you know, you just say picking up Pamela Anderson, going back to her place and then discovering that she's got a penis.
Yeah.
That's sort of how it felt.
Or maybe just going to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, that was what I was going to ask you. How many times did you go to the bathroom?
I didn't now.
Well, that's 5 stars right there. I mean, if
Absolutely.
you didn't go to the bathroom, that movie should get much higher than 50%.
And see, this was the predicament I was in too, because, you know, like, because I didn't go on the typical tight ass Tuesday, so I went on a Thursday. So the movie ticket was $25. So I sort of was thinking, okay,
It's quite a lot of money, Devin.
You know.
And then the fact you paid $25 for the ticket, and then you're spending money on like popcorn, giving money to an orphan child, and that's nearly $100. I mean, it just goes up from there, doesn't it?
And because what I sort of felt bad about was because you sort of think, okay, you pay $25 for a movie that you're only going to see once, that's ordinary, but then at the same time I was looking, thinking you can spend $25 and actually buy the DVD.
Right.
So you've got something physical to keep.
Oh.
But then the thing is, it was such
What a dilemma.
Such an ordinary movie. Would you really want to have the DVD?
Okay,
You know,
so-
that was the thing. Do you throw your money away on once, or do you buy something that you can keep but that's
Forever.
ordinary?
Well, you've pre-ordered the Chips DVD.
Yes.
I just want to establish this. Now, the minute that the Chips DVD was available for pre-order, Devin paid for that.
Yes.
Which, that's a total of 1 pre-order so far. So, would you do the same for Baywatch?
I probably would.
Oh my God.
I am a fan.
You actually would pre-order it.
I probably would pre-order.
Oh my God. All right. So 1 silicone implant out of 2. It's a very specific review. Did you look this up now on Rotten Tomatoes? Did you see
I
what?
have not.
You have
I
not
have
looked
not.
at That's
I
good.
thought, I know you're the one with the computer.
I've got
you're
it.
at the nimble fingers.
I've got the nimble finger. So just as per the usual, we're going to see how the consensus of the world is in opposition to what Devin may think of the movie. Mel, if I had to ask you what you think the world thinks of Baywatch in a percentage, you know, what would you think the consensus of how good it is?
So based on everything that Devin said, I reckon 30%.
Ooh, I got a good wholehearted 20%. So you're a bit off of this one, Devin.
Ouch.
Actually, 3% more than Chips got. Like, it actually got 3% more. The consensus is Baywatch takes its source material's jiggle factor to R-rated levels but lacks the original's campy charm. So yes, unfortunately, Devin, you're wrong again. But I think, Devin, you're the winner out of this, because out of the 12 people that's seen it, you were the one that probably had the most fun.